You sent that text hours ago. They read it, no reply. And now you're doing the thing, checking their Instagram to see if they've posted since. Drafting a follow-up message, deleting it, starting over. There's a version of you watching all of this happen, thinking, who is this person? This isn't how I normally operate. There's a specific reason why some relationships pull you into patterns you don't recognize. Patterns that feel desperate from the outside, but completely logical from inside the anxiety. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly where that comes from and why it doesn't have to stay. Before we go further, if this is your first time here, I share psychology research every week that most people never encounter. Hit subscribe so you don't miss it. And if you want to understand your own attachment patterns specifically, I've put together a free attachment style quiz over at magneticchemistry.com. Link is in the description. Takes about 3 minutes and gives you a personalized breakdown of exactly where you land. Now, back to why this feels so familiar. Most people who experience anxious attachment don't describe it as anxiety. They describe it as small moments. The text that sits on read for 2 hours. The slight shift in tone, not cold, just quieter than usual. The canceled plan that they say is fine, except something in your chest says it isn't. You're not dramatic. You're not clingy. You're hyper-vigilant. And there's a reason your nervous system learned to work that way. The hard part isn't the worry itself. It's that you can see yourself doing it. You know, rationally, that checking their location isn't going to make them text back faster. You know that replaying the last conversation for signs of distance isn't helpful. You know. And yet, that gap between what you know and what you feel compelled to do is one of the clearest signs of anxious attachment. It's not a character flaw. It's a survival strategy that got stuck in the wrong context. Here's what that means. At some point, usually early, usually before you had words for it, your environment taught you that connection was uncertain, that people you needed might not be reliably there. So your nervous system did what nervous systems do. It adapted. It learned to scan constantly, to track small signals, to stay ready. That was smart. That kept you close to the people you needed. The problem is that the strategy doesn't automatically retire when the original threat does. Now, I asked at the start why some relationships pull you into patterns you don't recognize. We're about to get there, but first, I want to give you the foundation. Because understanding where anxious attachment actually comes from changes everything about how you respond to it. In the 1960s, British psychiatrist John Bowlby proposed something that was controversial at the time, that humans are biologically wired to seek proximity to caregivers when threatened, not just as children, but across the lifespan. He called this attachment theory. And what he found was that the quality of early caregiving doesn't just affect how we feel as children, it shapes the templates we carry into adult relationships, the internal working models we use to answer 2 questions. Am I worthy of being loved? And can I count on others to be there? In the 1970s, Mary Ainsworth built on Bowlby's work with a landmark study called The Strange Situation. She observed infants separated from caregivers, then reunited. What she saw in the reunion told her everything. Some children settled quickly when their caregiver returned. The distress repaired. Bowlby called this secure attachment. Others couldn't settle. They clung, pushed the caregiver away, clung again. The return didn't repair the distress. This was anxious attachment. And what drove it wasn't the child's temperament. It was inconsistency. When caregivers were sometimes warm, sometimes distant, present one moment and preoccupied the next, children learned something specific. Connection is available, but unreliable. So you'd better monitor it constantly. Here's insight number 1, and it reframes everything. Anxious attachment is not a category you either have or don't have. It's a spectrum. And critically, it's a spectrum that shifts depending on the relationship you're in. You can be relatively secure in friendships and anxiously attached in romantic relationships. You can be secure with one partner and anxious with another. The pattern isn't fixed to you. It responds to context. What researchers have consistently found is that anxious attachment activates most strongly when two conditions are present. The relationship matters, and the other person's availability feels uncertain. Remove the uncertainty, and the hypervigilance has nothing to track. Meet Maya. She's 29, 6 weeks into something that felt promising. The first few weeks were consistent. He was present, texting daily, making plans. She felt relaxed in a way she hadn't in a long time. Then, one week, he got quieter. Nothing dramatic, just slightly less responsive. To most people, that barely registers. To Maya's nervous system, it was a 5-alarm signal. She's not checking his Instagram because she's irrational. She's checking because her nervous system learned, a long time ago, that silence is the first sign someone is pulling away. Her job, the program she's been running since childhood, is to detect that signal as early as possible. She's not being needy, she's being thorough. That's what anxious attachment looks like from the inside. We're about halfway through. What I want to show you next is how this pattern loops, and why understanding the loop is the thing that actually changes it. Quick question before we go deeper. When you feel anxious in a relationship, which sounds more like you? Do you pull back and go quiet? Or do you reach out and try to reestablish contact? Drop A for pull back or B for reach out in the comments. I read every one. And if you want to go deeper on your specific pattern, I've written about this on the blog at magneticchemistry.com. Link in the description. Now, here's the mechanism behind why this loop is so hard to break. Here's how the loop actually works. Anxious attachment is designed neurologically to read other people, which means it doesn't just live inside you. It shapes every interaction, and it invites a response. Liam isn't avoidant in a dramatic sense. He's conflict averse. When things feel heavy, he needs a little space to process. That's not a character flaw. That's his version of self-regulation. Insight number 2, the mechanism that makes this loop so hard to break. When Maya's nervous system goes into alert, she reaches out. Connection feels threatened, she seeks reassurance. But to Liam, that reaching feels like pressure, so he creates distance. Maya registers the withdrawal. It escalates. She reaches harder. He distances more. By week 8, Maya is at an 8 on a scale she started at 2. Liam is doing the same, in the opposite direction. Neither of them wanted this. The loop created it. This is not a story about Maya being too much. It's two nervous systems in conversation, and neither of them fluent in the language the other one speaks. Remember that question from the start? Why do some relationships turn you into a version of yourself you don't recognize? We're about to answer it, and the answer changes what you do next. Week 9. Maya is sitting in her apartment after a conversation that didn't quite land. She's not panicking. She's tired. And for the first time, she notices something. She's been here before. Different person, same feeling, same spiral. Not because she keeps choosing the wrong people, but because she keeps bringing the same nervous system. That's recognition. Not resolution, but recognition. Insight number 3, and this is the one that matters most. A psychologist named Alan Sroufe spent decades studying people with insecure attachment histories. What he found challenged the assumption that early patterns are permanent. People with anxious early histories who formed high-quality relationships or who did serious self-reflective work could develop what researchers call earned security, an actual documented shift in how the nervous system responds to intimacy. Hazan and Shaver showed in 1987 that childhood attachment patterns follow us into adult romance. Bowlby's framework playing out decades later. But Srouf's work added the piece that matters. The pattern can change. Anxious attachment was never your flaw. It was your first solution. A child in an unpredictable environment who stayed vigilant, who monitored closely, who responded quickly. That child was doing exactly what survival required. The nervous system built a system that worked. The problem isn't that you developed the system. The problem is that the system doesn't know the environment has changed. Maya's nervous system was protecting a version of her that no longer needs that level of protection. And the fact that she could see the loop, name it, trace it back, that's not nothing. That's the beginning of something. The question isn't whether you can shift toward security. The research says you can. The question is, what does your nervous system need to learn something new? If you want to understand your own attachment patterns specifically, your actual profile, how it shows up in your relationships, I've built a free attachment style quiz at magneticchemistry.com. 2 minutes, personalized breakdown of your results. Understanding the label is one thing. Understanding what it means for your relationships is where the real shift begins. Links in the description, completely free. Maya's story doesn't end with the loop. It ends with her recognizing it. That recognition, naming the pattern, tracing it back, understanding what the nervous system was actually trying to protect, that's not a small thing. Research on earned security shows it consistently. Awareness is the mechanism, not just the precursor to one. You don't have to stop being someone who feels deeply. You don't have to become a different person. You have to help your nervous system learn that the present is not the past. The question worth sitting with: is the vigilance protecting you or protecting a version of you that no longer exists? When you understand your attachment style, everything about your relationship starts to make sense.